it's Elise and welcome back to another spooky Halloween edition of My Cupcake Addiction. Today we're going to be making some really cool exploding jello-filled chocolate spiders. If you want to see where my makeup was done, I will leave a link down below. Bridget from Idolize Makeup was lovely enough to complete this skull candy skeleton look for me, so make sure you check her out if you're looking for some really cool Halloween ideas. She has tons of stuff, special effects, gory makeup, and heaps of cute stuff too. Let's get started. To make my spooky spider pops, I used a silicone cake pop mold, but you could also use a flexible spherical chocolate mold or an ice cube mold. I've got some baking paper and some melted black candy melts. I also used some dark chocolate to make a couple of my other spiders over here, so it's up to you what you want to use there. I've got a pair of scissors and I've got a spoon, and these ones here are just some tiny little red sprinkles called nonpareils. I'm using some Maltesers, which is similar to Whoppers, and I've got a meter of licorice or a licorice strap. I've got a little bit of condensed milk, and of course I've got some green jelly or jello. First up, I'm making up my jelly or my jello as per the manufacturer's instructions, but I'm only adding half of the required amount of boiling water to this. So in goes about 100 or 125 mils of boiling water, and then I'm going to stir it until it's really nicely dissolved. Once that's really nicely dissolved, I'm going to chuck in a couple of ice cubes just to cool it down really rapidly so we don't have to wait as long. I'm putting in like 3 large ice cubes, and then I'm going to stir through some of that condensed milk. Now there's no exact measurement here. I used about 2 tablespoons of the condensed milk, stir it all the way through, and that's going to give you more of like this slimy jello color than that really kind of dark green jelly color. You can set your jelly aside, and then you want to take your melted candy melts or your dark chocolate, and I'm going to put about a half a teaspoon in each of my little silicone cake pop mold cavities. Use the back of your spoon to drag that chocolate right up the sides so that it comes right the way up to the edges, and then you want to pop those off into the fridge to set. We're going to do 2 coats here, so don't worry if this first coat isn't perfect. When the first coat's all set, you want to repeat the process exactly the same. So you're giving it 2 thin coats. Make sure you're not going too thick here because you don't want those chocolate shells to be too hard for people to actually get through when they go to eat these. Before these ones go into set, just use your finger or a clean tissue just to neaten up the edges and make them as flat as possible. When they come out, they should be really nice and firm, and you're going to need to sort of pop them out of those silicone molds. This is why the metal ones don't work so well. Pop them back into the mold for support, and then you want to fill them with your green jello mix. Now that mix should be completely cool, and you don't want to fill them all the way to the rim, just sort of about 2/3 full. Pop those back off into the fridge and let that jelly or jello completely set. Once your jello is totally set, take 1/2 of one of your spheres, and you just want to sort of dip it into those melted candy melts. Make sure your candy melts are not super hot here. They should be melted but not burning hot. And then take one of your other halves of your spheres and you're going to join the 2 together. Once they're joined together, you'll need to just run your finger around that seam, which will help distribute the chocolate really nice and evenly, and it'll smooth it out beautifully. Now it's time to start building our spiders. So cut off a nice section of your licorice strap. You could also use something here like Haribo wheels, but I'm just going to cut that licorice strap into 8 individual pieces for each of the legs. You'll also need to cut just 2 tiny little triangles for your little spider fangs off one of your offcuts of licorice. Now I'm going to use 2 clean, fresh tissues here, and I'm just folding them in half and then kind of rolling them into a little bit of a tube. This is going to be just to support the legs of my spiders because I found otherwise they fell over while they were drying and I had to sit there with my hands supporting them for ages. Take your wax paper now and place down one of your tubes, and then you just want to take a nice little blob of that black candy melt. Don't make this too big. You want it to be a little bit bigger than the base of your large ball, but not too much because you don't want a really big black foot underneath. Take one of your little jello filled balls now and place it down onto that chocolate circle. And then you want to place your other little piece of tubing on the other side, and you're going to attach your legs. Now the legs should have just enough of that candy melt poking out underneath the sphere to be able to stick straight into that candy melt that you've put down onto the baking paper, and then just kind of hang them out over the sides of the tissue, and that's just going to give them something to support them on while they're drying and let them keep their lovely round shape. For my spider's head today, I'm using a Malteser, or any round brown candy will do. I'm going to dip that into a small amount of my black candy melt, and then I'm just going to roll that very small dip section into some of my little red nonpareils. This is going to look like a whole bunch of little tiny red eyes on your spider's head. And then you want to take your toothpick with another 2 small dots of that black candy melt and use that to glue on your 2 little triangular fangs. There's your little head ready to stick on. To stick that one down, you're going to take more of that black candy melt and you need to bring it right up the back and also the base. So the red eyes should be sort of on top of his head, the fangs should be facing forward, and there should be enough of that chocolate to support the base on the wax paper and to stick the back of that Malteser onto that spherical ball. Once he's all set, remove the tissues and your spider's ready to serve. I recommend storing these in the fridge until about an hour or 2 before you want to serve them. And when you serve them, I like to surprise my guests by not telling them about that Jell-O center, because it's great to see their faces when they reach that green goo inside. I hope you guys will enjoy recreating this gruesome Halloween treat for your friends and family, and make sure that you don't forget to check out Bridget from Idolize Makeup for all of your Halloween and beyond makeup ideas. Now it seems I've got a slight spider problem in my kitchen. Not anymore. Happy Halloween!